In this exercise we're going to model an adjustable wrench. The focus of the lesson will be the use of the new style spline tool for the modelling of the head of the wrench, the use of the helix spiral command in the creation of the screw thread on the adjustable wrench, and the use of the rack and pinion mate to allow our wrench be adjusted. To start, create a new part, and I'm going to start with the handle, main body of the wrench. So I'm going to save it as wrench handle. Now we're going to complete the outline of the handle on the top plane. Draw a rectangle, the handle aspect of it. A semicircle here at the end. I'll trim away that aspect of the circle, and I'm going to change the properties of these two lines here to construction lines. Following this, I will need to create some center lines here to establish the style splines for the head of the wrench. So create a center line out like so to establish some points so I can fully define my head of the wrench. Across like so, and then two lines here which are going to be the jaws of the completed wrench. Following this, then I will put in my style splines. I will dimension this. Following dimensions: 200. You will notice there in previous versions of SolidWorks, when I added that 200, the rest of the lines may have pushed out of shape and everything may have become a slightly bit deformed. But in the more recent versions of SolidWorks, that does not change. It automatically scales up, so you can see your sketch, your initial sketch has maintained, has not been deformed. So that's a very useful aspect of SolidWorks. 10 millimeters. Center line there, out to this corner. Must be 30 degrees. So 50 millimeters. Add each of these dimensions. Our sketch would be fully defined at that stage. We've now prepared the sketch for the splines to create this head. So I'm going to start with this spline here at the bottom edge of the wrench. So now when you go up to your spline, you click on the options here and you have a new option called Style Spline. Now the Style Spline allows you to fully define a spline much easier. So in this case I'm going to choose Style Spline. I will start it here. I will click another point here, so it's created using lines, and click it onto the other end point of the jaw there. Right click and select. So now I can adjust my spline by adjusting this point here or adjusting the lines. So it makes it much easier to fully define a spline than previous versions, the ordinary spline. So in this case here, I'm going to choose this line here. I'm going to make it horizontal, and I'm going to add a dimension there of 25 millimeters from that point to this line, which defines my spline there in that case. I'm now going to add a style spline there for the head of the wrench. So once again, getting style spline, just underneath spline. I'll start here, and I'm going to add my points, something like this. the beginning, right click, select. So you can see I can adjust this spline then using those points. I'm going to add the following dimensions. This line horizontal, and the point here will be coincident with this vertical line here. I'm going to make this point coincident with this line, and now I'm going to add my dimensions as follows. It will be a distance from this point to that line of 50 millimeters. A horizontal dimension there of 45, and a vertical dimension there of 15, which fully defines my sketch now. So much easier to handle splines there using the style spline tool. So you can add as many or as little points as you wish. To complete the wrench then, I just need to remove a circular hole here at the back. The wrench will be hung up. So I'll add a dimension there of diameter 14. And at the front then, I need to remove a little square here where the screw thread will be added afterwards. So I'm going to use my rectangle tool, but this time I'm going to use a 3-corner rectangle, which makes it a little bit easier. And I'm going to add in a 3-corner rectangle like so, which I will turn into a square, clicking those two sides, and add an equal property. This square will be parallel to this edge, so choosing this edge here, this edge, and we'll add a property of parallel. Lastly, we'll dimension that square into place. So it's a square of 25 mm, of 15 mm. Lastly then, back here a distance of 10 mm. Having my sketch completed, I'll now extrude the body of the wrench to a thickness of 10 mm. Now I'm going to extrude this mid-plane because that plane will be useful later on. I will accept that. That's the main body of the wrench completed there. There's a dowel here to hold the screw thread in place, so I'm going to drill out the hole here for the dowel. So I'm going to choose this surface here. I have to choose this one because it'll be difficult to choose this, work on this curved surface, and I'll sketch on this surface in here. I want that to be in the center of that surface, so I'm going to use a center line to join the diagonal. And draw a circle at the midpoint of that center line. The diameter of that will be 7.95 millimeters. And this will be an extrude cut. Extruded cut. We'll have to go two directions. So direction 1 will be 5 millimeters. And in my feature manager over here, I'll click to activate direction 2, and this can just go through all, which will remove all of it there, except that. That is my hole for the screw thread prepared. On my adjustable wrench, there's a slot here mechanism to allow the jaws to be adjusted. So I'm going to use this straight surface here to create the slot required. A sketch and normal 2. I'm going to create a center line here to start, across the center of the jaw, like so. At the end of that center line, I'll draw a circle. There's a barrel-like joint here in this. And then I'm going to get a line. Actually, I use a rectangle. I'll draw a rectangle from the circle up to that surface there. I'll now add a property. We need this to be symmetrical here, so I'll add a property on this corner of the rectangle to the circle of coincident, so that now will make it symmetrical either side of that center line. And I'm going to trim away the unwanted aspects of the circle here, there and there, and I will turn this line into for construction because I'm not requiring that. The dimensions for this will be a diameter of 4, a width for the slot there of 5, and a distance for the slot in there of 5.5. Selecting through all in both directions, which will remove the slot in its entirety through extrude cut of the wrench. This will now cut into the square slot we removed here in the head for our screw head to work. Finally, we need to remove a little triangle here from the wrench there to allow the jaw maneuver up through it. So I'll select top plane and sketch, normal 2, and I'm going to draw a triangle here. Keep this collinear there with the jaw, if possible. Thus the jaw will maneuver up through there. I'll add my property. Collinear, and a distance here of 8 millimeters. This will be an extrude cut. So as previously, our width of our slot was 5 mm, mid plane. So the jaw can maneuver up through there when it's complete. Most wrenches will have a slot cut out here for text. So we'll select the surface and sketch, normal 2. And I'll create a center line up through the middle, center of the circle to pop up, like so. I'll then create a circle here at the end point of this line, and a circle at this other end point. And I want to draw a line between. On the bottom as well. So getting that quadrant, drawing it across. Making sure those are horizontal. I can now trim away the unwanted aspect of this circle here. and here, and add my dimensions. Dimension of this will be 7 millimeters. This circle here will be 10, and the length of that center line there will be 190. And this will be extrude cut to a distance of 2 millimeters into the handle. So we're leaving it down into it. And accept that. I can now mirror that to the other side. So I select mirror. Because I've done a midpoint extrude boss base, I can choose top plane, and that last extrude will mirror it across onto the back. Most wrenches will have some sort of text here regarding the manufacturer or some description of the wrench. So we'll choose this surface, sketch, I go normal 2, and I'll create a center line here to place my text on. And a dimension there of 3 millimeters off the inner cutout. Using my text function, I can select the line and then add my text. In this case, I'm just using PDST adjustable, but that could be anything you wish. And I'm going to adjust the font here by clicking Use Doc. One click checking the Unused Document font. And I'm going to be using Arial Rounded MT. Bold, size 8 millimeters. That text can be centered, like so. And we'll extrude that 0.5 of a millimeter. Save. That can be repeated on the other side of the wrench there yourself to have it on both sides. The final aspects of this then is adding our fillets to complete the handle of the wrench. So I'll choose fillet, and the first fillet there will be 1 millimeter. It'll be a constant radius, 1 millimeter, and we're going to be adding it all the way around those top edges and bottom edges, like so. Accept that. And the second fillet will be a 0.5 of mid fillet. That will be placed around those inner edges, both sides. And the inner edges of the square cutout. To complete it. Accept that. There'll be no chamfers here on the jaws of the wrench. Save. Lastly, we want to add our materials and add our appearance. So on my materials here, I'll right click, add materials. In this case I want a tool steel, so I'll go to steel and tool steel. We'll apply and close. And lastly, I get my appearance. Once again, I go to appearances, I go to metal, I go to steel, the top, and I want chrome plated. It should be in chrome. I'll go to chrome plate, I'll drag it out and I'll drop it. Now I can add it. I have my choice here, face, extrude boss base to the body. In this case I want the whole part. I'll add it to the whole part. I can adjust it there without edges if I wish after that, and I will save. That is the body of the wrench.